Hey everyone, welcome to the Geeky Juans, episode number 121. And we're gonna talk about The Last of Us Season 1. We're gonna review it, and I'm your host for today, Jude, and along with me is guest and girlfriend, Jackie.
Hello.
Okay, we're gonna talk about The Last of Us Season 1, and I think we can say we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
Yes, we
Yes.
did.
Okay, we enjoyed the 9 episodes. It feels short, but the pacing is really good. That's the first thing we can say.
Yeah.
And
The only bad thing I will say is that the basement scene.
oh yeah, one of the few things we'll talk about. So we're gonna review the show, not kind of review, just thoughts, favorite parts, and because we really like it, so that's one of our first things we want to say. And this is a
Mhm.
spoiler-filled review, so we're gonna
We're
just
telling you right now, so if you don't want spoilers, come back later.
come back after finishing it on HBO. So that's good. So Last of Us, about the show. So Last of Us is a 2013 game made by Naughty Dog,
Mm-hmm.
the guys who made Uncharted. After making Jack and Daxter and Crash Bandicoot, they decided to not make mascots anymore.
Yeah.
So no more PS2 mascots. So they're just gonna go with the full-on human focused movie like action, and I
Yeah,
think
basically like Tomb Raider, but a guy.
Tomb Raider but a guy. And then they decided to make The Last of Us, which is basically a post-apocalyptic movie, the game. So
Yeah.
in terms of video game adaptations, I think this is the easiest one to do.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not a zombie game.
Yeah,
It's not allowed. I mean, you're not allowed to call it a zombie game.
but yeah, it's more of a post-apocalyptic story with, well, not really a zombie, but about a
Mutated,
mutation. Yeah.
yeah, mutated human cannibals.
So one of the biggest problems of The Last of Us is a general problem of a lot of adaptations, which is most of them can end up bad, except for Detective
No,
Pikachu.
not really problem, but like uh, what do you call this?
A challenge.
Yeah, one of the challenges that it had before it came out, because a lot of people don't trust video game adaptations aside from Detective Pikachu, which was a hit.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I think we can count Sonic despite it not being based on one of the actual games, because Sonic was
But also
actually
they changed Sonic's look.
yeah,
So that's what saved
they have to save it. So yeah, but then again, despite the scary thoughts of many people, because it might be bad, it might be really good. So there was a lot of hype to it because it's The Last of Us. It's one of the best games ever for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Probably the best game of all time for most.
Yeah, plus people had high hopes for it because Neil Druckmann was heavily involved with the development of the series, and they got Craig Mazin, who directed Chernobyl, as the showrunner. So like people's expectations were super high.
So who better to direct The Last of Us than the guy who directed A Pre-Apocalypse? So let's go. Now our thoughts. So this is the spoiler-filled territory, and we just wanna get that out of the way before
Yeah.
we do anything.
Come back after 9 hours
Yeah.
of watching that.
Yeah, actually, you can sit through one sitting since it's 9 episodes. You can just finish it the whole day, and it's basically at the same pace of the video game. I think that's the first thought.
Yeah.
The length of the show is kind like the video game when you play and don't die. So
Like me.
that's basically like 9 to 10 hours most. So even less. So if you speed run the game, that's pretty much the length of it.
Yeah, it is.
And I think some people don't like the fact that there's not enough action, but I think the justification behind that is good because you don't need to show Joel and Ellie killing every cordyceps in the
Yeah.
show because
Yeah.
it doesn't it will just slow the pace of the story down. So
Yeah.
I think that reserving the cordyceps killing the human fight scenes in
Yeah.
spot sections is nice, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I read somewhere that well, I think this was before the show came out, that Neil Druckmann wanted to focus more on like the human relationships, human condition, and like what, because this is what post-apocalyptic any post-apocalyptic media does, right? That it focuses on the human condition, how far can humans go to survive, etc., etc. It just so happens that there are cordyceps infected. That's like they just treated the cordyceps as just as a challenge, as an obstacle to get to a goal. That's why it's not it like they didn't put like a lot, I think. That's why it's just seen as a because the real boss battles were the humans, were the fireflies or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, I think it doesn't it you don't really need to put too many fight scenes, though. I think the way they integrated some of the fight scenes from the games is really good.
Yeah.
Although we kind of wanted the basement scene to be done, the generator basement scene, because I think that would have still adjusted well to
Yeah.
the live action,
Yeah.
the same as the video game, because it's one of the more horror moments. It's the only horror moment in the game. I think the
Yeah.
biggest one.
But I guess they only had so much to do since this is the first season and they only had like 9 episodes.
Yeah, so the runtime is kind of short. So
I think it had like millions. It had like a million, like
30
millions
million.
of, yeah, but it was like less than Game of Thrones.
Yeah, less than Game of Thrones, but more than House of the Dragon.
I mean, yeah, House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first off, we talk about the cast. So I think Pedro Pascal as Joel is one of the
He was
best
perfect.
choices. There were a couple, I can't remember who, but also worth noting, Gabriel Luna, who was Tommy, could have also played a Joel.
Yeah.
He could have been a decent
but
Joel.
Gabriel Luna also looked like OG Tommy.
Yeah,
Like
so
when I saw side by side of his face and like the original actor, I forgot the name of the original actor. Who was the other guy in the one of the episodes?
Yeah.
I forgot his name. But yeah, they look so much alike.
yeah. So Joel is actually perfect. Also worth noting, one of the reasons he's perfect is because he already played this role before, as a
The Mandalorian.
as a disgruntled veteran
Taking care of a child.
taking care of a child towards an end goal
Yeah.
at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much Pedro Pascal's character for the past few years in The
Yeah.
Mandalorian. So perfect
Yeah.
for perfect for Pedro Pascal, and
Which also started showing around the time that The Last
Yeah.
of Us was ending
So-
already.
so Pedro Pascal was pretty much dominating TV right now because he has two shows. Doesn't need a big movie because he has two really fun shows so far. Now, the cast,
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey as Ellie is perfect. Bella Ramsey was great as
She is.
Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, despite the short screen time because she's not one of the main cast members.
And the unfortunate death, the child.
Yeah.
Why would you do this to the child?
But she is ideal for being casted as Ellie because she can do that fiery character really well. Strong, hard-headed character.
Yep.
So in a gritty post-apocalypse, you can rarely go wrong with someone who can pull that role off.
Yeah.
Next up is the actress of Marlene, who is the same one as
Yeah.
the only one who retained her role
Yeah.
from the games. So
Merle Dandridge.
Merle Dandridge was
Yep.
really good, and of course she has to be because she played the original version of Marlene in the
Yeah,
game.
she's the only one who came back to
And-
reprise her role. Yeah.
And her performance is like one of the best ones because she's just a natural and she's been there before. So it's pretty much automatic that she can pull it off without
Yeah.
any hitch. Now
Who
we talk
else?
about
Sarah.
now we
What's her
talk
name?
about Nico Parker
Nico
as
Parker,
Sarah.
yeah.
So despite her only having one episode to do everything,
Yeah.
it was her best. It was probably one of the best performances in a single episode by
Yeah.
anyone, probably in this TV show season. I mean,
Yeah.
there are lots
Yeah.
of good TV shows.
And by the way, a lot of people were kind of upset when they found out that they race swapped. Is that the word? Race swapped Sarah. When, in the first place, Sarah's just going to be there for like one episode.
Yeah,
Like, does it really matter what race she is? I mean, in the first place, Joel was already race swapped.
Yeah, but then again, yeah, I think the issue of just swapping
Yeah.
race is just, I think it's just very petty because if someone can pull off the character the same way as the games, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who, it shouldn't matter what their background is, because
Yeah.
if they can pull that off, anyone can pull it off.
Yeah, because the point of The Last of Us is just to showcase like how far can a father who lost a child go
Yeah.
to like what to like do get the job done, protect a little girl, in a post-apocalyptic America.
Yeah, very lots of moral discussion and
Yeah.
lots of life and grief
Yep.
and trauma and moving on. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much the
It's 9 hours
gist.
of emotional trauma,
Yeah,
basically.
and if you played the games, it would be even longer if you just kept on dying to cordyceps. So The Last of Us prevents that from happening by not having that many combat sequences. So Joel and Ellie are playing on easy mode in
They
HBO.
are.
But then again, you don't really need to show the combat, so that's what we said earlier. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Next, we have I would like to show Anna Torva's
Anna Tor.
Tess. So yeah, Tess was really great. Also, like in the case of Nico Parker, Sarah, um, she didn't have that much time to shine because
Yeah.
she is one of the people who will unfortunately have to die in,
Yeah, she had to
early
die.
in
You
the
can say
series.
it.
So
But she, oh my god, I loved her role though as Tess. She
so
was like very like strong, badass mother.
Strong
She's
mom.
giving
uh,
mother.
strong mama bear figure. So that's pretty much her role, and I think her sacrifice scene was
Yeah.
done perfectly in the same way as the game,
Mm-hmm.
which is just all right and solid,
Yeah.
and she is one of those perfect fit in the cast, and I think pretty much the entire cast is like at the solid at a very solid
Yeah.
selection of
They did a
people.
great job.
Yeah, they did great. So we're just looking through the cast because we have to make sure we cover
There are a
everything.
bunch of them.
Oh yeah,
Like Offerman.
Nick Offerman
As
and
Bill.
Murray Bartlett as Bill and Frank,
Oh my
respectively.
god.
Arguably had one of the best performances in a single episode. I think The Last of Us had a lot of good single episode performances from the cast,
Yeah.
especially when a lot of them only really have one episode to shine on.
Yeah.
So that's really powerful.
Nick
So,
Offerman went hard on that.
yeah. So we're gonna talk about their moment in a few, but let's just talk. Oh, Henry and Sam was good. Lamar
Were.
Johnson as Henry. So yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
Kathleen
I
is
didn't
also
care
good.
much for her.
Even though I think that it worked. So
It did, pero
her role worked because we hated her a lot, and like she is just ruthless, and her episode is just very straightforward,
Yeah.
and just to show the Henry and Sam arc of the show. And if you're
Yeah.
hearing cat noises on the background, that's
that's my cat.
yeah, that's Rosie on the background, just saying hi to everyone.
Oh
So
my god.
um
Who else?
we
The
have
guy who played the religious guy.
wait, David.
David.
Scott Shepard as David is really good. I can't remember. I don't think they look the same in the show and the game, which is fine.
Disclaimer, we played the game like so long ago and we haven't replayed it since.
Yeah.
So like there are a bunch of things that may have gone over our heads while we were watching the series. I'm gonna replay the game once it comes out
Yeah,
on the
but-
28th.
But then again, we have from the video games, we have some cast members from the OG Last of Us who were in the show. Troy Baker as James,
Yeah.
who was David's
Right-hand man.
right hand man, and yeah, he performed really well. Despite the one episode, and performed as the reluctant one right hand man, not one hand man. He had two. He still had two hands.
He had
even,
2 hands.
even after he died. So
And minus a neck.
yeah. Ashley Johnson as Anna was really great.
Oh my god.
Just to give Ashley Johnson, the original Ellie, one performance on the live action to just to give her a role because she was so good as Ellie in both Last of Us
Yes.
games, and she just had to have one nice scene, one great scene, and
Ashley, what's her name? Ashley Johnson.
yeah.
Ashley Johnson gave birth to Ellie twice.
So yeah, so she did give
I got
she gave birth to two Ellies, and that's
Yeah,
pretty powerful.
I got emotional when she was like acting on the show because I could clearly hear Ellie in the game. Oh my god.
It's the same Ellie.
It's the same Ellie.
But yeah, so yeah, the cast is spot on, solid.
Yeah.
They chose the right people, and
It paid
each
off.
performance was solid each episode. So they
All of
don't
the
they
performance.
they didn't really have there wasn't really anyone who had a bad performance. Everyone, I think the fact that, as I said, this is pretty much one of the easiest
Yeah.
games to adapt into a live action because you don't really have to change too much. You just have to add
Yeah.
extra story bits to add more context to some of the game
Yeah.
scenes because the game couldn't handle all those
Yeah.
story because you still have to play the game.
Yeah, but also because Neil Druckmann also made the point that they wanted to make the series into like an extension of the game because as Jude mentioned, it like you could only put so much in a game, right? And like 90% of the game is like gameplay. The only story you'll get is like cutscenes and like um chance interactions, right? Like I mean they changed a lot in terms of like let's say Bill and Frank, right? They changed their story completely, but I think the point was like giving them that story that they deserved and that Neil would have put in the game if they had more time. But obviously the um what happened in the game was different because there like Frank was already dead and um Bill was all alone and he was like talking to himself. He was like driven crazy already because Frank was already dead. But yeah, all in all, like even the changes were okay. I mean, again, we're talking we're talking as people who've played the game like years ago. So even to that effect, right? Like we don't remember most of like the story that happened in the game, but we still like whatever happened in the show. Like we still appreciated whatever happened in the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you want it to be one to one like the game, would you really want to sit through watching Joel and Ellie fix the workbench for like 5 minutes each
The
episode? So
workbench.
so as much as I would have wanted to see, I think we did see the workbench once, so that's actually cool.
The one is to one scene though was the purchase.
Was episode one. I
That's
think yeah,
episode one, yeah.
we can talk about the best moments now because episode flow was pretty much game accurate.
Yep.
So they didn't really change too much. They just added the Left Behind DLC as a singular episode. And then they just added extra bits and pieces of story and lore
To add
in
nuance.
episode 1 and episode 3 to just add nuance to everything that's happening, just to add context because as we said, the game couldn't provide that much plot as Neil Druckmann would have wanted at the time. Although I think if they released The Last of Us in 2023, he would have just added everything he could have. So accuracy, yeah, it's very accurate,
Yeah.
very game accurate. So apart from the few changes like less combat, less workbench, even the reuniting with Tommy scene at the power plant, there was a fight scene there
There
against the infected against the cordyceps.
there
So
was.
so they didn't have to see anyone dying there because that would have been grim because going back to the town in a Christmassy season,
Yeah.
depressed is not the best way
And
to
then
do it.
finding out that Tommy had
Yeah.
a kid in the way.
So too many emotional roller coasters there for one. So that's bad. It would have been too much. Now, best moments, I think episode 1 was a great intro because it was just almost one-to-one accurate with the game, although they changed the truck into an airplane
Oh yeah.
for the explosion scene, which is worth the budget because it wouldn't be as cool if it were the truck. You need the TV show boom value, and it's
Yeah.
HBO, so
I mean, if you had
you have to
30,
go.
30 mil, get the plane.
So, spend a bit on the plane. So
Yeah.
just for that special
But
effect.
I got really emotional when I first saw the first episode. Like the first episode started with like what happened in like Sarah's day before the infected, like all of their days, right? Like it started like normal. They went to work, they went to school. Sarah bought a watch for Joel's birthday, etc.
Prepared.
Repaired pala.
Yeah.
Repaired his watch for his birthday. And then the car chase scene happened, and I got so emotional because it looked so much like the game. I could not stop freaking out.
But yeah, I think after that, the rest of the episode was pretty much like the game as well. So that's one of the best moments. Bill and Frank episode 3 was also one of the best moments because I think they were able to just create create like a very Oscar bait movie in one episode.
Yeah, Nick Offerman should win an Emmy for that, no?
Yeah. If there was, because really powerful episode, really strong, great post-apocalyptic drama on its own. It can stand. So if an episode is good enough to stand on its own as like a short film, which it kind of is,
or a spin-off.
so that's pretty much the Bill and Frank story. Because you don't even need to no context behind the series because you can just watch that one episode alone and be happy.
But even in the game, right? Like a lot of people, God, a lot of people again got mad because they portrayed Belle and Frank as like overtly gay. But like if they paid attention in the game, they were already like Belle and Frank were already in a relationship.
It's like heavily implied.
It was heavily implied, but of course we didn't see like their love story unfold because Frank was already dead in the game. Like, he killed himself.
Yeah, so they just added more context into everything and made it into
And
really good episode.
And gave them a happy ending.
Yeah, well, happy ending for an apocalyptic drama. So yeah.
No, yeah, they got an happy ending because they got to grow old and then they died on their own terms.
Yeah.
They weren't eaten by.
They weren't infected. They didn't turn into anything. Not even raiders could stop them, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Worth noting that Frank was able to hold off an entire raider party. So that was really awesome. Off screen, it doesn't matter. He just wiped the floor probably.
Yep.
And then they had the fight, which is funny. Anyway, so accuracy, best moments, Henry and Sam episode for their escape from Kathleen was pretty good because it just
the bloater.
yeah, it's the bloater was there just for the bombastic action sequence.
Literally.
one of the few action sequences that were really fun.
Yeah,
And
in fairness, like the bloater was super impressive, no?
Yeah.
Because I remember in the game, I hated that fucker.
Yeah, it was really scary. Although it was great because it was a mix of practical and visual effects, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah, it
Be
was
nice
like
to see.
prosthetics, dude.
So big unstoppable Unga Bunga zombie. So W keying everyone.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So that's one of the best moments. The Henry and Sam scene, it's the saddest. It's probably one of the saddest scenes next to
Yeah.
episode 1 and 3.
It doesn't get any better.
Yeah. And then
It gets sadder and sadder every time.
and then being adapted into live action almost
Yes.
accurately.
Yeah, it is.
It's sad. It's one of the most unexpected things. Even when I watched it, played it in the game for the first time. Like,
Yeah.
what? Oh yeah, it's
I
not.
think what made it better also was the way Bella Ramsey's Ellie reacted to like who's the older brother? Is it Sam?
Henry.
Oh, it's Henry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When Henry shot Sam and like Bella Ramsey's reaction when the gunshot happened is like visceral, man. Well, not the one visceral, pero you could see like the fear and the emotion in her eyes, whereas you couldn't really see that with Ellie in the game
Hopefully, we see it in the Steam version.
because hopefully, well, no, I don't think.
I think they can enhance it. A bit. extra expression. One more. So yeah. But yeah, best moments. The Left Behind episode was really good because you condensed the entire Left Behind DLC into one episode just to
Right.
give Ellie more backstory.
But actually, Left Behind wasn't a long game either.
Yeah, it was just as one sitting
Yeah,
thing. And it was literally the motor.
it was.
It was just the motor,
It
so
was
it
the
was
beach
fine.
episode.
It was there, yeah. It was the post-apocalyptic beach episode, which still didn't end in a good way.
Yeah.
No one gets a happy ending in The Last of
I,
Us.
it was actually okay that they didn't show Riley turning. By the way, Storm Reed is Riley. Perfect. Yeah, they didn't have to show like Riley turning, how Ellie was captured by Marlene and the rest of the Fireflies. Like they didn't have to. I mean, anyone with a brain or with eyes would know like what happened next.
Yeah, they'll just eventually
Like
find
piece
out.
piece together everything. It's
Yeah.
there.
But yeah, FBI was great, and then last in the best moment, I think episode 9, season finale was good because they did a giraffe scene.
Oh, the
Nice.
giraffe. The giraffe was real, by the way.
Yeah, giraffe reels. Everything else around it, not so much. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey also real. So everything else there, yeah, pretty much CGI. But yeah, awesome. They got the giraffe in the set, which is pretty nice.
Yep.
Just for the authenticity touch, because it's really good. Especially the video game giraffe was really nice there in the original version.
Yeah, some people didn't like the ending.
Oh yeah, because once again, people who didn't watch or didn't play The Last of Us don't know the ending, of course. So
Yeah, but
they
like,
were
yeah.
shocked by the moral decision in the ending.
Yeah,
because
but also it's it's I also understand why like they would be disappointed because after everything that's happened, like what? Like Joel just mowed down everyone in the hospital and saved Ellie and then they're free. That's all. That's it. The end.
but yeah,
Right?
but yeah, I think you don't have to change the ending because of course there's a sequel.
Yeah.
If the Last of Us didn't have a sequel, they could have tried to change it maybe or
No,
made it ambiguous.
But no, yeah, but
There's
that
more ambiguity with it without having a sequel.
no, yeah, because the what Neil Druckmann did with The Last of Us was, I think Naughty Dog wanted like wanted the ending to have like two endings where you had to choose whether you can save Ellie or not. And then I think if I remember correctly, like Neil Druckmann had to fight to keep like one ending because he wanted to have the game to conclude the game in a way that it can stand on its own or like work also when it has a sequel, because at the time they didn't know if The Last of Us was gonna have a part 2. So even if it didn't have a sequel, like at least for me at least it'll still work as a standalone game.
Yeah.
Because you can just piece together Ellie and Joel's story right after.
Yeah. And also I think there's a reason why it's fine if you haven't played the second, because The Last of Us
Yeah,
Part 1 just stands on its own as like a really good story.
but I really need to play the second
Yeah,
one.
we have to play that Last of Us Part
You
2.
really need to play the
And
part 2.
segueing to that, we talk about season 2, which is gonna be in 2 parts, which is the
Yeah.
initial speculation, which is fine because because part 2 was a long game. I've seen some parts of
Is
it.
it longer than the first
I
one?
think it's kind of longer, or it feels longer, because you have Ellie sequences. You also have, I think we can say, Abby sequences
Yeah.
in the game. So that's gonna be, it's gonna have to be 2 parts because you're having pretty much 2 main characters in the show. And despite how visceral the reaction was when Last of Us 2 came out,
Yeah.
it still has to be it's, people still have to see it in live action form. And also Laura
Yeah.
Bailey was in
The
episode
last,
9.
The last of
Yeah.
the last episode.
Was in episode 9 as one of the helpers, one of the nurses in the
One of the doctors in the operating room.
Yeah.
And also Neil Druckmann was the doctor who got shot down.
Yeah, so Neil Druckmann had to do the self insert on
Yeah.
himself, so he had himself get inserted by a bullet in the head. So let's go. Okay, but yeah, two parts, and with how wild The Last of Us Part 2 is, I've seen some parts of it. I didn't want, since I haven't really played it, so I didn't want to get
Yeah,
spoiled too
I
much.
haven't been spoiled
It's
either.
just it's a way more hectic game compared to the first.
I just
because-
know that there are like new infected.
Yeah.
But like I don't,
And
I
then
don't know
it's-
shit.
And then, although I would like to see this in live action because it shows Ellie and Abby's story. Abby being a Firefly is really good because you get to see more of the Firefly story,
Yeah.
and then you get to see angry Ellie in angrier Ellie. Because
Angrier Ellie.
Angrier Ellie.
Trauma ridden. No, but what's great about the HBO series as well, and I can't remember if this was clear in the game. Hey, if this was clear in the game, but like in the series, like you can clearly tell that Ellie knew that Joel was lying to her,
Yeah.
and that that she doesn't know if she can trust. Like there's like a moral dilemma within
Yeah.
Ellie. Like you can see like within the last few seconds. There's also a moral dilemma within Joel, right? Because I think if I remember correctly, they had this discussion, right? Like about were you killing like innocent people?
Yeah.
So I think a part of Ellie is scared of that part of Joel, right? That he was willing to like murder innocent people, and now it's like murder innocent people on her behalf to like rescue her. Had to lie to her that there were other immune people. I almost said immortal. Ellie is not immortal.
She might as well be in both games because apart from having protagonist plot armor, which every
Yep.
most protags will always have, except for Emil Hirsch in some.
Especially Joel, right? Because because Joel is like a tank in the game, and then here it's like old Joel. He's like deaf in one ear. His knees are cracking.
And he got stabbed in one
He got
episode.
stabbed. Like he's fucking old. Like he can just die whenever.
Yeah, yet still went Terminator mode just to find Ellie.
No, he went Terminator mode in that episode with David.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he just the adrenaline pumped up. Like,
just to find Ellie, and then yeah. So season 2 is gonna be fun or sad at the same time because it's Last of Us Part 2 is arguably way more violent than the first one because it's
based
more
on
of a,
what you've seen.
yeah, it's more of a revenge tale than post-apocalyptic escort mission. That's what it is.
Post-apocalyptic UPS.
Yeah.
You mean Death Stranding?
This is what Death Stranding kind of wanted to try, except it turned into UPS.
Yeah.
Grab Express Simulator.
But since season 2 is coming out, like not coming out. It's probably gonna be out like in 3 years or some 2 or 3 years or
HBO
something.
waiting time.
What do you call this? I hope the game gets to PC. I don't have a PlayStation or an Xbox or anything, so I play everything on PC. So,
Yeah.
but also what do you call this? The reason why it's split into 2 parts, not only because it's long, but The Last of Us doesn't have a part 3 yet.
Yeah.
Or nobody knows if it's gonna have a part 3 amid rumors that there's gonna be one.
I think it's divisive to have a part 3 because
It is though.
some people enjoyed part 2, like part 2. There was initial hate, especially it was during the pandemic, everyone was inside.
Yeah.
So all the hate just flows through them.
I mean, I don't know what they can do with part 3, considering that I don't know what happened in part 2, right? So I don't know if it'll warrant a third game. But from what I've read is that the next The Last of Us game that might come out is a multiplayer one. So there are talks about part 3, the what they're writing the story or whatnot, but I don't think it's been greenlit yet. My cat is saying hi. If you can hear it in the background.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be cool to have a season 2 because it
It
needs one,
should.
and it's gonna be a wild ride.
But also season 2, it got renewed even before the season ended.
One of the few series to do it right now because some series will die after one season
Yeah.
or two seasons, But yeah, despite that, it's gonna be really fun. So, I guess that's it for the episode. So, yay, we did
Do
it.
we have other thoughts about The Last of Us?
Not really. I think we covered everything. So,
Yeah.
maybe we'd like to have a wish list of other video games to
Yeah.
have adaptations, but maybe I think people would like to see God of War be adapted.
That is a big topic.
Basically, God of War in 2018 and
God of War,
Ragnarok.
another game with a dad, with a disgruntled dad taking care of a child.
Yeah. So if they're gonna go with a God of War adaptation, they could go with the Greek one or the Norse one. Although the Norse one has recency bias and
Yeah.
is an easier story to adapt because what are you gonna adapt in God of War, the Greek God of War
I
games?
think the Greek God
Because
of
they were
War.
too visceral and
Yeah.
too many parts that probably
The,
have
the,
not aged well.
the Greek God of War, they're gonna have a hard time greenlighting that because they're gonna need like what, a bunch of, what do we call this? They're gonna need the violence because that's what's fueling
Yeah.
that part of the game.
So I think the easier way there is like the Norse version. So that's another PlayStation game they could adopt, and since HBO is there, they can try put that. What else can we see get adopted before we end this episode?
Bayonetta. No, I'm kidding, not Bayonetta.
No,
Not
Bayonetta just has a problem right now. I wish Devil May Cry would have at least something because it's a very flashy series. Although that's gonna be a visual effects
This
mill.
is like like suntok sa buwan na ano, Elden Ring.
Oh, Elden Ring can be, or any of the Souls. I think Bloodborne is easier because the story, the lore is very good.
But you do realize that once they make a Bloodborne adaptation, people
Ask for
are
the
gonna
others.
keep no, they're gonna keep asking for either the Bloodborne remaster or like a sequel to Bloodborne
Yeah,
because it's stuck in
PS4.
60 FPS.
It's stuck in PS4 and PS5, not even new gen version.
Yeah,
So,
not even PC, right?
oh,
Not
if
even
there
PC.
was another game we want to see adapted, one last, I think Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, that would be
because,
cool.
Even though each episode has no dialogue, apart from the guy telling you where the monster is and how, and just hints on where to kill it. I think each episode where he just climbs up and kills a freaking colossus is gonna be cool.
I think it'll be cool because one, it can have more like backstory on what's this guy, Wonder.
Wonder, yeah.
On Wonder's story, like his relationship with the dead girl. I forgot her name. With the dead girl, but also it can have like those anime battles that go on for like a full episode.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be like Attack on Titan, but with one guy, one giant, and quieter.
Not even Attack on Titan. It's gonna be like Attack on Titan, but like the length of the fight is gonna be Ghost Fighter 2
Yeah,
episodes.
but then again, it has to be like 16 episodes just to match the same number of colossi, which is really
That's
cool.
a lot.
But still, that's why it's something that's hard to adapt because I think putting two battles in one episode is gonna be too much.
Yeah, oo nga,
Because especially like some of the big colossi battles are long, very very long.
Yeah.
So, but I guess that wraps up our episode. We would have we would have wished for a longer wish list, but we can't remember too many games right now.
Yeah.
But then again, thank you for those who are listening and probably watching this. So you
Watching?
can, yeah, I think we're gonna put this in video, so
Oh, okay.
on YouTube. So you can find this episode on Spotify, Anchor,
Or
and
wherever you
YouTube,
listen.
wherever you listen your podcast. So it's gonna be all there,
Uh-huh.
as with the other previous Geeky Ones episode, and then you can follow the Geeky Ones on Facebook. Check out the geekyones.com for the website, and check out our Twitter and Instagram for more updates on
Yep.
the episode.
Yeah.
But then again, that's it for the episode. And thank you so much for watching and listening. So goodbye, guys. See you next episode.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.